No, there's nothing mysterious about his death. He definitely killed himself. Here's the CCTV footage. And there is no client list, and none of that is right. And actually, you know what? It's all over. And it is odd. I mean, John
Piers.
Again, John, you know, from with your intelligence hat on,
Have you ever noticed how some of the loudest voices claiming they're fighting for ordinary Americans always seem to end up defending the same political figures no matter what happens? That's exactly what we're looking at today, and this exchange perfectly captures why so many people are starting to question whether some high-profile political influencers are acting as independent commentators or simply repeating the talking points of the people in power. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In today's video, we're breaking down a fiery confrontation where Adam Mockler goes head-to-head with Jack Posobiec in a debate that quickly turns into a one-sided dismantling of the arguments being made. Rather than calmly addressing the facts, you'll see how the discussion repeatedly shifts into deflection, distraction, and attempts to change the subject whenever uncomfortable questions are raised. The timing of this debate also makes it especially interesting. Jack Posobiec has faced growing scrutiny after his involvement in promoting the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files, and now many critics believe he's trying to distance himself from that controversy. As more details continue to emerge, people are beginning to ask whether some of the administration's biggest online defenders were promoting a narrative that simply doesn't hold up under closer examination. So let's watch this exchange from start to finish, because there are several moments where the debate takes some unexpected turns. Then, once we've seen everything unfold, I'll break down exactly what stood out, why these arguments matter, and what I think this entire confrontation reveals about the current state of political commentary.
He was friends with Epstein. He'll be friends with Elon.
what was that?
He was friends with Epstein. I'm sure he can be friends with Elon Musk.
He actually helped Epstein be prosecuted. He was the only person who was involved. Kicked him out of the Epstein. You know all this. Like, it's just a very.
Have you heard of Alexander Acosta, the Florida district attorney who was?
Like your little,
have you
like,
heard of Alexander Acosta? You know who that is?
You're like, oh, I got it. Look at me. Like, I'm the guy from Third Eye.
Do you know who
Blind or
Alexander
whatever.
Acosta
But
is?
No,
you were
no,
duped
no,
to cover up
very
sexual
clear.
abuse of
Donald
children.
Trump was
You were
kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump was the only one who went to investigators and said, I will
Piers,
work
do you know
with
who
you
Alexander
against
Acosta
Epstein.
is?
This has been litigated a
Can I just add
million
something here?
times.
Well,
It's been litigated a million
first of all,
times.
Can I just?
Well,
can I
Brian, I'll
just-
come to you, but Adam, just explain what you're talking about.
Yeah, really quickly, Alexander Acosta was a Florida district attorney. You can look this up. He knew both Trump and Epstein. He was appointed as a Secretary of Labor under Trump and had to resign in 2017 because people found out that he mishandled the Epstein case in 2007 and let Epstein get an illegal plea deal. Epstein was then able to go re-offend, and Trump appointed him in 2017. So I don't want to hear the dude that was brought to the White House to cover up sexual abuse saying that there was, I don't like, what are you trying to say here? Yeah.
You gotta wipe your face. Can you just wipe
Yeah.
that little thing off your face there a little bit? You got a little,
All right,
you got
hold
a
on a
little
sec.
mud on your face.
So you have
there.
no points.
Hold on a second.
No
Can I
points,
just-
huh?
Can I add something?
you got a little
First
mud
of
on your
all,
face
I
there.
hear the MAGA bullshit detector going off every single time Jack opens his mouth. First of all, people like Jack were the people who called Joe Biden a pedophile for sniffing hair, but yet we have Jeffrey Epstein on tape calling Donald Trump his best friend. They were hanging out together constantly. I've spoken to Jeffrey Epstein's brother
Do you want me
many
to go
times.
through the
They
list
were
of all
very
the
close.
Democrats
I'm
he was
not done
friends
yet,
with?
Jack.
Piers, like,
Jack,
we can
Jack,
go through all
Jack,
this again, but Piers,
Jack,
I know you've done
Jack,
this
I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt you.
You've
Jack,
been a real reporter
Jack,
on this. These guys just want to play
Jack,
politics. I'm trying to be
Jack,
serious here.
Jack.
Dude, you were at the White
Jack,
House
I'm
with
a talk
Epstein
show
files
host
in
here.
your hand.
Yeah, just talked about it.
Right, exactly, Jack. Jack, just you want to defend Donald Trump and wear the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7, but when it comes to a Democrat, they're all pedophiles. But if Donald Trump is actually hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and
So do you
Epstein
have like
calls
any
him
evidence
his
of
best
this? Like,
friend,
can you have like a source on that, bro?
No,
Give me,
because
like,
the
any
Pam Body
actual
won't
evidence.
release the
So you wanna-
sources.
actually, yeah, I do. The Maxwell trial, where it was
let's hear it.
learned that
Please,
he
show
was
us.
on the Epstein flight. Why don't you listen? It was in the trial, in the Maxwell trial, that he was on the flight log 7 times. We have Jeffrey Epstein on
Bill Clinton was on
audio
there 26
calling
times.
him his best friend. So here's my question to Jack. Jack,
And how
if
many times did Bill
Jeffrey
Clinton go
Epstein
to
was
the
on
islands?
audio,
And how many times did
Hey,
Jeffrey Epstein say
first
that
of all,
he was one of the
that's
founding
called
members of the
whataboutism.
Clinton Institute?
I don't defend
Clinton Global
Jack.
Initiative.
Jack, if Jeffrey Epstein
this
was
all day
on
long, bro.
audio saying that Joe Biden was his best friend, That wouldn't concern you at all?
Man, these are
all
like
you do is
2016
deflect and you
talking
talk
points.
about other
Like, don't
people.
you guys have anything new? Do you
I mean,
anything
my
new?
line
Why
about
won't
the
they release the
Epstein,
files?
but my line about the
Anything
Epstein
new?
circle of famous friends is, to me, that there's a clear line before his initial conviction, which was a complete stitch up in his favour, no question of that.
Jack, why won't they release the files then?
Well, hang on, Brian.
Called for them to.
Hang on, Brian. The point I'm going to make is, I do think if you continue to be a friend of Epstein, knowing he was a convicted pedophile after whatever it was, 2009 or so, as Prince Andrew did, for example, then I'm afraid that is seriously problematic. For those who were in his circle, of a wide circle of well-known people, from Bill Gates to Trump to all these, Bill Clinton, I mean, he hooked in everybody, but a lot of them had nothing to do with him, including Trump, I believe, after that conviction. But if you carried on seeing him as Andrew did, living at his house for a few days, years later, knowing he was a convicted pedophile, that is different. I mean, do we agree?
Yeah, I think that's all been litigated.
I certainly agree with what you're saying, Piers, and your point there. But the point that I'm trying to make is there has to be a reason why they're not releasing the files. Why are they being so mum? Why has the list just magically disappeared? And I think one can come to a very logical conclusion, unless you're Jack and you defend Donald Trump 24/7, that maybe there might be something to do with the fact that Trump might be in these files and there might be some wrongdoing there, considering the fact that they were at one point best friends.
Well, they've
Or
certainly gone as an administration from full bore. We're going to reveal everything, and it's really shocking, and there's going to have to be accountability. I mean, I had them on my show. They've gone from that position to suddenly, no, there's nothing mysterious about his death. He definitely killed himself. Here's the CCTV footage, and there is no client list, and none of that is right. And actually, you know what? It's all over. And it is odd. I mean, John,
Piers.
Again, John, you know, from with your intelligence hat on,
Now, this entire exchange is bigger than just a heated debate. It raises an important question about political accountability and whether some online influencers are reporting the facts or simply defending their preferred politicians. For those who haven't followed this story, here's the context. Back in February 2025, several well-known conservative influencers, including Jack Posobiec, were invited to the White House. They were handed binders labeled The Epstein Files Phase 1. Naturally, that created huge expectations. If there's a Phase 1, most people assume there will be more revelations to come. The event was heavily promoted across social media, with influencers posing outside the White House holding the binders as proof that major disclosures were finally on the way. But when people examined the documents, many discovered that most of the material had already been public for years. Then came another twist. A Justice Department memo later stated that investigators found no evidence of a so-called Epstein client list and reaffirmed the official conclusion that Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide. That immediately led many people to ask the obvious question: if there were promises of major revelations before, why did the story suddenly appear to end? That's exactly the point Adam Mockler was pressing during this debate. Instead of fully addressing those questions, the discussion quickly shifted into personal insults rather than evidence. Whether you support the left or the right, that's never a good look. If someone raises a legitimate question, the strongest response is to answer it, not attack the person asking it. And that's the bigger lesson here. Accountability should apply equally to everyone. If credible evidence exists against anyone, regardless of political party, it should be investigated through the proper legal process. No one should get a free pass simply because they're politically popular. Now I want to hear from you. What did you make of this exchange? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.